Poetry night is a beautiful thing to witness, so thank you all for coming. My name is Courtney Terry. I work at the public library here in McMinnville, and we partner every month on the first Thursday at 6 p.m. with Dan and Nancy, owners of the gallery at 10 Oaks, to hold these poetry nights. We'll get started. All right, we'll go ahead and get started. So I guess the first announcement I have is an unfortunate one, that the poet Danielle Cardena Duenos that we had scheduled for tonight has the flu. She just contacted me this morning, so we don't have a featured reader for tonight. So we are going to just go straight into the open mic and hear your poems. I didn't want to cancel completely just because I knew there would be plenty of you that would come anyway, and so we'll just have, and so we'll have a truncated poetry night tonight, but then please come back. So next month, the first Thursday in November, we're making up for it because we have two featured poets. Next month we'll have Barbara Drake, who is a well-known local poet, and then a friend of hers, Alice Derry, who is from the Tillamook area. So they'll be doing a double reading, followed by the open mic. And then the first Thursday in December, we have Lex Runciman, a former Linfield College professor.
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah. And then in I'm going on now because I'm so excited. I actually have poets set up for like at least 5 months now. So I can say like November, December. In January, we're actually going to be featuring Diane Forsberg, and Joel Zach, who did a reading last year. You may remember they have a poetry photo book that they created. They did a really amazing presentation of that. They are coming out with a new book. It's actually coming out next month, but they'll be here in the first Thursday in January to do a joint reading following that. And then Danielle, who is going to be here tonight, will be back in February. And April, where the new poet laureate will be here as well. William's son, Kim.
Oh, I thought maybe this was a Halloween appearance.
I know, that would be so cool. We could do it. No. But, okay, so just to fill you all in, that's what's happening tonight. I will say after, if we finish a little early tonight, I would all encourage you to head over to the library. The NAMI, which is the National Alliance of Mental Illness, is hosting a candidates forum for the upcoming election. So they have quite a few candidates for a few of the representatives, the circuit judge, the county commissioner, and they're doing a meet the candidates and then just a question and answer debate. And so that's going on at the library. It's now, but it'll still be going probably by the time we finish. So I would encourage you all to head over there and mix your poetry with some politics. I wouldn't, no. Oh, no, I wouldn't. So, also,
we have an announcement.
Mike has an announcement. I don't know how to introduce it, so I'll just say Mike has an announcement.
Don't go away.
I won't. I just was making make a face.
So, poetry night. Last time we talked about what we were going to do to have a poetry while you wait, and we did it. And it was a fundraiser for Poetry Night and the adult program. And it was a great success.
Yes.
Bob and Bruce and Lucy and myself, and we sat at Troon's tasting room. Not Troon's. Ransoms.
Yeah.
Ransoms, and we were swamped.
Yes.
People came in. We had all kinds of requests from weird things like your poem about what was it called? Marriage?
The birth anniversary?
Birthday
anniversary.
This couple came in and they'd gotten married on one of the ladies' birthdays, and the one lady was a bridesmaid, and then the next year on the bridesmaid's birthday, she got married, and so there were like these two marriages and these two birthdays, and it was incredible. And we had lots of fun. It was stressful.
Yes.
High pressure environment.
Why you wait.
Yes.
But the best thing is, we made $130 for programs, and hopefully then we can use the money to, you know, buy books and maybe an award for poetry. Now I'd like to make a pitch for those of you who might be interested in coming and improv poetry. It is an experience, but then when you see people read the poems,
That's amazing.
it raises that up a notch. A couple people have said that we need about 4, and some of us have computers, but this next time it's all, for me anyway, I have 2 manual typewriters. Lucy had an electric, and so Bob had this little, there's not going to be a printer, Bob.
No printer this time?
No printer this time.
Oh, that sucks.
But anyway, please let me know, or you, and you can get the information to me.
Yes, absolutely.
If you're interested, it's the 3rd on 3rd. It's the 3rd Friday of in McMinnville, where they have the wine walk and art walk. And so people come in. We had a number of people who came in and then had dinner at Nick's, because it's right next to Nick's. And then when they came out, in fact, I think you had to interrupt her. Here's a poem.
Sat down at the table with them.
Yeah. So anyway, it's really a lot of fun, and hopefully we can continue to make money for the adult program.
Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah,
This
Mike,
is
wonderful
amazing.
idea.
And with that, we'll get started. Who among us has poetry they would like to read? Yay! Okay.
That I've never read in front of a group before.
Oh, fantastic.
So if I wet my pants, you know.
This is the place to do it. Don't worry.
Okay. This is a poem I wrote in 1977. This is the piece of paper in it. It was a Xerox, and this was typed on a typewriter.
Oh, wow.
It still smells old. It's called The Lady of the Sea. I remember a tale, and remember it well, of the lady who was lost by the sea. No thunderous wave could wake her, no flying gull could find her, no tall ship could save her, this lady who was lost by the sea. She was young, she was fair, this lady, I mean, who was lost by the sea. Her eyes they would stare, and her head it would dance at the sounds and the sights of the life by the sea. Her love for the sea expressed her feeling for he who kept her days bright with many a memorable sight. With walks they would take, and her nights he kept tender with moments she always would remember. And in the mornings together they would wake, this lady, I mean, who was lost by the sea. Now that I remember this tale of the lady, I have but one question. How could she, who found love by the sea, not only get lost, but resemble me?
That was wonderful. Thank you.
And I didn't wet my
Yay!
It's always good that she doesn't.
That's good.
I was very happy about that.
Oh, not wetting the floor.
Yeah.
So, I have this really long ass poem, but I'm not gonna read all of it.
What we got?
It's really awesome.
It's really long.
Oh, 35 pages.
I'll give you a few verses. The kegger. Silver light drips from the old oaks and lays a cool lick on Panther Creek. Johnny Doss flashes his gold eye tooth for cover, praying nobody sees the stiffy bucking behind his blue jeans, whacking the backside of his rodeo buckle, as if Johnny doesn't remember that ride. The girls like Johnny, but not for that. They like the freckles on his nose and how polite he is, the respect he shows them by tipping his hat as he looks at their breasts. The boys like his sparkle, the glint of his tears whenever Old Glory passes by, the moonshine his old man stashes in Johnny's truck. Everyone's his friend when they want to snort, or someone to ride shotgun, a pawn to take the fall, a shoulder for the heartbroken, who won't cop a feel or slobber in their hair. Ripe and ready to please, that's Johnny. Bruised even before the picking. Lila Moore cocks her knee. Even when the batteries go dead, she finds the beat. Plié, dégagé, stand back from the blast zone. Punk, hip-hop, blue suede rock. Her belly a coil of muscle, a blur, a shake that rattles her ribs. Her little skirt takes flight. The rocks her mama tied to the hem aren't doing their job. Bigger rocks, mama. Sweat sparks on her cheeks. The ones that make the boys shine, the ones that bring the shine to Saturday night and make the boys smile. She ran from a boy once, but the knife strapped to her thigh says she won't run again. Let them look. Let them want. Let them think she's dancing for them. Big Dan Roberts doesn't know plié from bop. The farm boy went vegetarian last week because Grandpa gave him his first beer at age 11. A tumbler of whiskey at 13. Pissing off the old man is something to do. He chomps on a sprig of asparagus dipped in mayonnaise. Someone planted a wildflower in his buttonhole, a kindness that surprises him. Morning looms behind the oaks. Always near and long before tomorrow's sun, the first sniff of diesel and dew. A hangover if this keeps on, and it will keep on. He tilts to the heat more than the light, his backside to the fire, the workday idling behind his eyes, the milky scent of alfalfa, the rasp of a gate, his hands massaging the soft dirt. Voices tumble by, the spill of a giggle, a rough curse. He raises his brow, and that's enough. He watches out for them all. The keg sweats and spits up foam. A little cheap they're too thirsty to mind. Billy the Zit stuffs cash into his fanny pack. $2 a pint, $1.30 a draw in profit, not counting the spill or the head or the short pour. Someone has to do the math, count the buns, weigh the butter, satisfy the needs. Patty O'Brien wanted pleated seats in her El Camino, and that's what she got. White leather. Little ripples of perfection for her pleasure, not his. Billy went home with a smile between his legs anyway. That was Thursday. Now all he has is a big blue ache. Patty wants chrome wheels.
Thank you. Who else would like to read?
Oh, sorry. Oh,
All right.
I'm going to read a couple from the Poetry on Demand event. What do you call it, impromptu? Poetry on Demand.
improv.
Yeah. So, which was challenging. And I had a woman come up to me there, and she started describing about how her daughter was going to be getting married. And you ever go to the 7-Eleven and get one of those ices, and like you drink too much of it, and it gets in your throat, and your throat suddenly gets like way cold, and then your brain just kind of freezes. Yeah. Well, that's like I was with this poem. Fortunately, Lucy picked it up. And, the woman was very happy with it and said she was going to read it at her daughter's wedding, which is why she had requested it, which is was in a week from then. So that was, you know, that was something.
Lucy.
But I got a couple of requests. One of them, there was a couple doing what they call the winecation, so they asked me for one on a winecation, so I wrote this one. A staycation is more tolerable with wine. It makes a vacation seem divine. But if you want to really feel refined, you've got to take a winecation. First, get someone else to drive. A chauffeur will help you stay alive. Or you can do it on the cheap, a designated driver for when the ground seems steep. Sun and vines, red and white lines, terraced hills, laughing at spills, viewpoint thrills. You'll have it all on your Oregon winecation. So, and that's what I would call doggerel. It's like just, you know, you knock it off, it rhymes. You know, so. And then somebody gave me, which was cruel, gave me the topic of fog. So, and I tried writing about this, and I'm not entirely satisfied, but I will read it to you anyway. So, conceal the rough, soften the harsh, shield us. Step over the coastal hills, the coastal range, slide down. Steam from morning coffee joins the palette of muted colors from the fog. Bed gravity asserts itself. The world can wait.
Wait,
I
yeah.
can read.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay.
This is where you fight.
I got one. That, I got a story here first. A couple of things went wrong tonight. I had my glasses on that I thought were my good glasses. Turns out they were just some glasses that I had grabbed in the garage, and I was looking at something, and then on the way here, thought, oh yeah, I got my glasses. Well, I put them on when I got in, and everything's blurry. It's these are the dollar store glasses. And so my wife went out to the car and got my other backup glasses. These are from a few years ago that are just like emergency glasses that are a little better, but not really that
These
great.
are the emergency backup spare glasses? Okay.
And so Dan was kind enough to offer, I emailed, I had a couple of poems, so I emailed it, him one. He printed it in
Do you need some good
bold.
readers?
I have some
I have,
prescription readers here.
well, these are doing it, because
Oh, yeah.
these glasses. Good job, thank you, Dan.
I'll just see it from here, eh?
Just hold it up.
Hey, you could all read along. So, let me share with you, this one is, this one actually has a little bit of a backstory to it. At the Poetry on Demand event, one of the people that came along and said, I want to make a donation, was a fellow poet. Is he here tonight? I don't see him. But he said, I want a poem about steelhead blues was his topic, because it's kind of a tough ordeal when you're trying to catch a steelhead. They're wily and hard to hook, and so it was good subject matter for a poem. And I wrote one for him, and I sent it out, and I finished it that night, And then taking off from that, I thought, well, instead of just a quick dashed out poem on the subject, I want to just kind of, visit it again. So that's what I did. I held on to the same title for now. It's just called the same title as Morning Run. It's a lot different poem than initially, so here it is, fishing poem. Stand in icy water with leaky waders for hours and hours? Yes. Crazy? No. Kooky? Yeah. Fishing with bait? No. Listen, brother worm, sister cricket, have no fear. I will not shish kebab you. Give me fine hooks with feathers and fur lightly spun, not like Grandpa's kit that weighed half a ton. This all goes back to things that he taught my dad, like how you gotta wake up before the sleeping's done. It's super dark outside, and when that alarm launches you, like being shot from a gun, get the strongest coffee you can find. Maybe allow yourself the tiny luxury of a cold hot dog for breakfast, minus the bun. Such are the timeless rituals and lucky talismans practiced by the ancient ones of my family. Those anglers who got to the river fast to greet the earliest trace of dawn, so no crowds would beat them there. You're drawn by an unseen force down a ferny trail along a rocky path. Yo, hear that splash and gurgle, creekside critter chatter. The sights and sounds distract you in a familiar moment as you recognize that bird just riffed some Coltrane. Now you are ready. Start waving your rod, casting, casting, casting. After a while, you wonder, where are the fish in this promising run? The odds are not good. You'll catch even one steelhead. But statistically speaking, your chances are actually mathematically improving with every downstream drift. You recall Carly Simon's simple truth, how anticipation can make you crazy, and this has a slightly calming effect. Carly, so reassuring, her soothing voice urging you to slip carefree, gently through the water into a separate reality, a form of meditation, really. Each time your hook hangs up, your jaw tightens a bit, but it's just another submerged log. Then remind yourself, in the next moment, you may hook one. I got a limerick that I want to share with you. This is a kind of a dopey thing, but there's a little tradition at work. I'm often volunteering a limerick for whatever the occasion is, and so this particular occasion was a potluck, and the theme of the potluck was chicken. So, chicken limerick.
No.
It's short. The pain won't last long. A chicken made friends with a toad. One croaked while the other one crowed. The chicken said with a cluck, "Hey, I'll bet you $1. I can cross to that side of the road."
Thank you, Bruce.
I'll do it.
All right.
Mine is flash fiction or a poem with dialogue. I don't know what it's called anymore. It's called Patron at the Beginning. My cell phone buzzes. I pick up. Where are you? Sorry. Lee's voice soft and reasonable. I'm at the beginning. I'm honest. Of your way home? There's the edge of the trained prosecutor. Not exactly. I stay humble. I sip my coffee and wait. In the move to exhausted persona. What the hell? You're always beginning. True. Long pause. I get it. Lee's voice lightens with recognition. The beginning is a bar, a bookstore, which hosts open mics for poets and musicians. Wednesdays, poets step up to the mic and read. Occasionally a bongo, or a bass, or a guitar fills in the spaces between the words. I sense their feelings. Thursdays, Kallstrom sits at the piano and improvises. After a tune, Gary steps in with his bass. Jean Ann limbers up her guitar, and they jam. Within the spontaneous sound of trained musicians, discovering the ins and outs of a tune expands being alive. There's no place I'd rather be. Come home when it ends. Lee hangs up. We need to be at the beginning of who we are. The end will come soon enough. You have a poem that I wrote.
Yeah.
Bruce was taking pictures of the poems that we were leaving on the table for the patrons.
Is that it?
Yeah. It just disappeared. Help.
Oh, it wants to send
We're
it to
not.
somebody.
They-
We can send it to Dan, he can print it. No.
Okay. Yeah, this was, what was this poem? This was for somebody who asked about their son was
He just turned
changing.
14.
He turned 14 and his voice was changing. Our ancestors understood the need for the rite of passage. When our eyes stop looking around and start to look for the future, challenges, risks, the desire to stand on one's own, to stand on one's own beginnings, fear still resides within each heartbeat. That was the poem too. Next.
Thank you. Anyone else like to read? Okay, great. Okay, Bruce saves the day with it as well.
I didn't think to photograph the poems until we had written a few of them, and then I realized, hey, these people haven't picked these up yet. I'll just take pictures. So
Good
Yeah,
idea.
so thanks to Bruce, I have a copy of one of the poems I wrote at our Poetry While You Wait. This is the one called Birth-Anniversary. This was the two couples who came in and had this story about how when one of them got married, her bridesmaid, it was her bridesmaid's birthday, and then when the bridesmaid got married, it was her birthday, and it was, you know, and could you write a poem about that? And it was sort of like, well, okay, if I can understand it, I you know. So it was a little convoluted, but this is what I wrote, Birth-Anniversary. On this day, we two wed, our maid of honor dressed in red. Her birthday, too, was on this day, another celebration underway. As if this wasn't fun enough, another birthday for her betrothed was coming up. Or was it the bride's? On the day the maid of honor's knot was tied. This poem sounds a little twisted, I'd even say a bit ham-fisted, but it's meant to celebrate the joy of boy meets girl and girl weds boy. And those who find they're 1 year older, sip the wine, live life bolder.
Thank you. Anyone else like to read? Okay.
I have this one for, it's called Fun at 70.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone.
This one, you can kind of mess up. These are photos. So can you turn it sideways?
Oh.
I could say it.
And then, yeah,
Oh, okay. Well, I could try to read that.
you can make it a little wider.
Do we have time for one more?
Yes.
Well, I'll read it.
Great.
This was a group of women, I think 3 of them who were friends and were in their 70s. They'd known each other since high school. And
they loved Bob.
and, yeah, they loved Bob. I think
They were flirting big time.
they were.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh, I was expecting something.
Yes.
So they wanted a poem. This was called Fun at 70. 70, how did that happen? Weren't we teasing our hair into beehives, teasing the boys into noticing us, singing along with the Beatles, She Loves You, yeah, yeah, yeah. Wasn't that just, last week or so? Now, older and somewhat wiser, our pleasures have matured. At least they have gotten more refined, shall we say. We can drink wine, the really good stuff, and without sneaking it out of our parents' stash in the basement. Those boys we kissed in the back seat of their daddy's Fords, now, boys grown to men, we can linger with them at our leisure, spend the afternoon languidly loving, not caring who knows it. Or spend a day walking the beach on a windy day, watching people and dogs running through the surf, then go home and paint a picture of your memories. Write a dynamite memoir recounting your fabulous life. Each day is now a jewel. It might be a ruby or an emerald or a creamy pearl, but each is counted, each is precious. Friends, husbands, lovers, children, shopkeepers, and plumbers each encounter a fresh chance for experiences. But don't forget, it can still be fun to sing Beatles songs.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I had a copy of the poem of El Cid. So, Homer has the Odyssey, and the Irish have the cattle raid of Cooley, and Gilgamesh and Enkidu. So this is the poem of the Cid, and I'm just gonna go to the opening and read the opening of it. This is like the epic poem of Spain. It says here in the notes that since the opening pages of the poem are lost, the beginning of the story is supplied from the Chronicle of 20 Kings. And the part of the chronicle relating to the Cid had in the first place been translated from a poem into Latin prose. So this passage is just after the Abbott's manuscript. And this translation is W.S. Merwin's translation. So at this point, King Alfonso has sent the Cid to collect tribute from the Moorish king of Seville. King King Alfonso sent Rudiaz, my Cid, to collect the annual tribute from the kings of Cordova and Seville. Almontemis, king of Seville, and Almoldafar, king of Granada, at that time were bitter enemies, and wished each other death. And there was then with Almoldafar, king of Granada, these noblemen who supported him, the Count Don Garcia Ordonez and Fortun Sanchez, the son-in-law of King Garcia of Navarre, and Lope Sanchez, and each of these noblemen with all his power supported Almontefar, and went against Almontevis, king of Seville. Rudiaz Cid, when he heard that they were coming against the king of Seville, who was a vassal and tributary of his lord King Alfonso, took it ill and was much grieved. He sent letters to all of them, begging them not to come against the king of Seville, nor destroy his land, because of their allegiance they owed to King Alfonso. For they might know, if they continued to do so, King Alfonso could not do otherwise than to come to the aid of his vassal, who was his tributary. The king of Granada and the noblemen took to note of the Cid's letter, but using violence they destroyed all the land of the king of Seville as far as the castle of Cabra. When Rudiaz Cid saw this, he took all the force of the Christians and Moors that he could muster and went against the king of Granada to expel him from the land of the king of Seville. And the king of Granada and the noblemen who were with him, when they knew that he was coming thus, sent to tell him they would not leave this land on his account. Rudiaz Cid, when he heard this, could not rest until he had set upon them, and he went against them and fought them in the field, and the battle lasted from 9 o'clock until midday, and the Moors and Christians on the side of the king of Granada suffered great slaughter. And the Cid overcame them, and forced them to flee from the field. And in this battle the Cid took prisoner the Count Don Garcia Ordonez, and pulled out part of his beard, and took prisoner many of other gentlemen, and so many of the ordinaries that they lost count. He held them 3 days, and then released them all. While he held them prisoner, he sent his men to gather together the belongings and things of value which remained on the field. Afterwards Cid, with all his company and all his gains, returned to Almontemis, king of Seville, and gave to him and all his Moors whatever they knew to be theirs, and whatever they wished to take besides. And always after that, both Moors and Christians called this day Rudiaz of Biva, the Cid Campeador, which is to say, the warrior, winner of battles.
Okay.
Wow.
That was quite the dramatic machine.
I got it.
All right. Nice work. We're putting together quite the...
Courtney?
Yeah.
This is doing poetry at 3rd Street Improv Poetry Night. So I had to do one about doing one. Topic and themes requested from the wine tasters. Boy who likes cooking. I did that one. Because I like cooking. Girl going away to college for the first time. Fog. Fishing in the morning, but not catching anything. Hiking. Teaching botany. That was a tough one. Sisters. 3 women friends over 50. Husband who travels around the world tasting wine. That was
I did that.
Earl of Pearl.
Yeah.
And more. 4 poets in a row, typewriter, rhythmic tapping, computer screen white and waiting. People sipping wine, talking about their day, conversation to the left. Stories in front, laughter to the right. Cell phones, photos, questions, everything all at once. Focus on one idea. Stare at the blank page. Search for the voice. Wish for earplugs to quiet the cacophony. Relax to the moment. As the voice comes to life, find its rhythm, feel its music. Don't judge. Take a breath. Release. Let the poems go. When the poem is read by the person of the group requesting it, the mystery of our connection deepens.
Okay, anyone else like to share? Okay, thank you all for coming to Truncated Poetry Night. So the impromptu poets will be back at Ransom Distillery on the 19th, which is the third Friday, from 4 to 8. And then otherwise we'll see you here next month.
What's coming up at the end of the month at the library?
What would I do without you? November is National Novel Writing Month, NaNoWriMo. And so to kick it off, we have a author, Maggie Stuckey. She's come to the library and done a few programs before. But she will be doing a workshop on Saturday, October 27th at 2 p.m. About writing a nonfiction book proposal. So if anyone's interested, which I can tell you that in the library, poetry is nonfiction. So just saying. Just saying. 811. This is the Dewey number that I don't know that off the top of my head. But yeah, so thank you all for coming. See you on the 19th, see you on the 27th, see you on the 6th?
First.
Sure.
First.
Oh, it's the 1st.
Thursday the 1st.
Halloween's a Wednesday. I don't have strong opinions about that either way, but November 1st, we will see you back here with our double reading by Barbara Drake and Alice Derry. So thank you all. And you have still time to get to the candidates forum over at the library right now. Thank you.